Today we're going to take a closer look at Nemo, a yield trading protocol on Sui. We'll talk about the gaps it fills within the Sui DeFi ecosystem, airdrop opportunities, and then we'll go through the process of testing it out. Before I begin, please note nothing I say is financial advice. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research. So before we dive in and start testing out the platform, I think it's important to get an idea of what Nemo is, so I asked Grok to help us. Nemo is a decentralized yield trading platform built on Sui. It's backed by some big players including Comma 3 Ventures and Sui Foundation. Nemo enables traders to trade, optimize, and monetize yield through yield tokenization, splitting yield-bearing assets like Sui into either principal token PT or yield tokens YT. These are the two main products, kind of the main thing to understand: principal token and yield token. Principal token PT is redeemable for the underlying asset at maturity, offering fixed yields. Principal token is sort of like buying bonds. You're going to get a fixed yield and you'll get your principal back in full at the time of maturity, which is typically a few months. Yield tokens are a little bit more up the risk curve. They entitle holders to the asset's underlying yield until maturity, ideal for betting on rising yields. I'm going to refer to this post by OX Payne, dives deep into Nemo and really explains why it's a key piece within the Sui DeFi ecosystem. So I'll link to this in the description. I'm going to go ahead and just skim through some of the key points. He starts out by talking about how crypto has grown with NFTs, meme coins, DeFi, total value locked, hitting huge numbers across all chains, but yield has been something that really hasn't been tackled. Nemo says, hold my Sui with principal tokens for that sweet fixed yield vibe, yield tokens for hedging like a pro without a PhD in finance, and liquidity provider perks that actually protect your bags, plus yield as a service. Now Sui's got its own killer app, Nemo. Sui's DeFi total value lock has exploded over 2 billion. We take a look at DeFi Llama, Sui, you can see it's at 2.12 billion and continues to climb. It's one of the hottest chains this cycle for all things DeFi. Sui's DeFi ecosystem is fueled by protocols like Cetus, Momentum, Scallop, and now Nemo, the first native yield splitter, turning idle assets into yield machines. Nemo isn't reinventing the wheel, it's turbocharging it for Sui's ecosystem. Why does yield matter now? Over 1.5 trillion in Bitcoin sits idle, and even on Sui, stake Sui or liquid stake Sui, like S-Sui from Scallop, are underutilized. Nemo activates them, letting you long yield, bet on rising APYs, or hedge, lock in fixed rates. For degens, it's like turning your crypto bag into a side gig, stake, earn, repeat, without the boomer spreadsheet. Nemo lets you split and trade yield earnings from your crypto assets without selling the assets themselves. Think of it like dividing a savings account. One part gives you a fixed, predictable return, like a bond. The other captures extra upside if rates go up, but it also has more risk. So the PT would be the fix, and the YT would be the ability to capture rising APYs, but a little bit more risk. So the core idea is that if you have a token earning yield, like stake Sui, liquid stake Sui, like S-Sui, Nemo splits it into principal token, yield token, and liquidity pools. And then here's where he talks about how you make money with it. Imagine you have a magic fruit tree that grows apples. That's your money, Sui or stablecoins. And the tree not only gives you back your apples at the end, but also grows extra juicy ones in the form of yield. Nemo Protocol is a fun magic on the Sui blockchain where you can split this tree into two parts. One safe part, principal token PT, and one exciting, a little bit more risky part, YT yield token. This way you can play with your tree in different ways to earn more apples. Let's take a quick look at their website. Trade the yield, boost the growth, world's first yield infrastructure for everyone. Normal yield. The yield is not guaranteed. The APY always fluctuates as it's influenced by market conditions and other external factors. Principal token, buy and hold until maturity, and a fixed return is guaranteed. Okay, so that's like a bond. And then yield token, best way for hedging from risk and maximizing the profit. Yield token collects future yield by underlying asset. And then you can also provide liquidity with minimal impermanent loss. Here's a link to the docs. What assets can I deposit? Literally everything mainstream on Sui can be deposited to Nemo. Smart contracts audited by MoveBit. Non-custodial design, you control your assets. So let's go ahead and launch the app. So taking a look at the Nemo markets page, it says dive into the yield trading market and maximize your profit potential. Let's go ahead and start by connecting our wallet. In this case, we'll connect Slush Wallet. And you can see they have quite a few markets to choose from. These are essentially all liquid staked versions of the token. So S-Sui is liquid staking by Scallop. Same thing with USDC, Scallop's liquid stake version of USDC, Wall, Deep, and so on. Over here, you have the time to maturity for each one of them. Total value locked. Pool APY if you were to provide liquidity. Just remember, there's really three main things you can do with the markets. You can provide liquidity, you can buy the yield token YT, or you could buy the fixed APY PT token. Then you have the yield token price here and the PT price right here. We'll come back to this in a second and we'll go through an example of buying some YT yield token for S-Sui. But real quickly, I want to show each section of this app. If we go to my portfolio, you'll see your current balance over here, your claimable yield, and if you have any vault positions, they'll show right here. So a few months ago, I tested tested this out with just a very small amount. Back at the end of May, I did 2 transactions, one for YT yield token for SWE, and then I did a little LP for SDeep. And if we click on yield token, you can see it was just over $8 that I put in, so not a lot, and it's actually accrued almost $3 in yield. And then liquidity, here's the LP SDeep. Again, I did $9 total liquidity, so very small amount, just testing it out. If you click on all, it'll show you all of your assets, and then vault positions. If you have any vault positions, it'll show here. I'll skip right to vaults. So vaults essentially automate the process of providing liquidity like you would on a normal DEX, where let's say you entered a SWE USD pair, you'd have to make sure that it's in range, manage it daily, claim fees, rebalance. Vaults essentially do that for you automatically. If we take a quick look at how vaults work, it says Nemo vaults aim to be a one-stop shop intelligent yield solution, enabling users to easily participate in and benefit from complex concentrated liquidity market making strategies. Essentially, you deposit into one of the vaults available, and they partner with Momentum Finance. Momentum has quickly become one of the top DEXs on SWE with over 155 million total value locked. They also have an upcoming airdrop, as does Nemo. Take a look at the Potato Finance airdrop section, and I highly recommend using Potato Finance if you're active in the SWE ecosystem to track everything. You can see that they are listed under the airdrop section. So by participating in vaults, you're going to get managed LP positions where you can kind of just enter it and forget it. It'll auto rebalance it, make sure it's always in range, and at the same time potentially qualifying for Momentum and Nemo airdrops. So vaults on Nemo are something I'm going to look into in more detail and consider participating in one of them. If we go to points, this is really interesting, the points market. So it says unlock limitless potential with Nemo points market. YT holders can maximize points exposure. So this is interesting. Again, partner with Momentum Finance. To better help understand points market, I asked Grok to tell me how it works. Nemo Protocol's points market is a marketplace designed for airdrop farming on SWE, transforming points into tradable and leveraged tool to generate excess returns. Here's a core breakdown on how it works. Point markets allow users to accumulate Nemo points, which serve as proof of engagement and can be used for future airdrops. These points can be earned by holding LP, PT, and YT token positions or through trading activities. So it's definitely worth checking out points market, understanding how it works, and seeing if you can take advantage of it to boost your airdrop points on Nemo, Momentum, and potentially other protocols in the SWE ecosystem. If we go to leaderboard, you can see they're currently at 20 million total value locked. Here's my current ranking, which I guess isn't too bad for depositing like $18 a few months ago. This tells me that it's still extremely early with Nemo, and there's a ton of opportunity for people to dive in and take advantage of not only trading yield, maximizing returns, but also farming this airdrop as well as Momentum Finance airdrop. They just launched a referral program, so you can create a link, share it on X, earn additional points. So this is pretty straightforward. Let's go back to markets, and we're going to use SWE. We'll go ahead and click right here. So you can see here's the total value locked, just over $1 million for SWE. Here's the total volume, 24 hours, 190 days to maturity, underlying APY 7-day, yield APY, fixed APY, pool APY, and pool ratio. We're taking a look at yield token right now. If we click here, you take a look at principal token. You could provide liquidity for SWE, SWE LP, and then you could mint principal token or yield token right here. In this example, we're just going to go with yield token since I already have a balance. You can see I have 113 YT currently. I could sell that right now, so I could click on sell 113, and I'm going to receive back about the same amount it looks like that I initially deposited, $7.49. In this example though, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more. So we'll just say 5 SWE to receive 262 YT S SWE. I'll go ahead and say buy and approve. Success. We can review the transaction if we click here on SWE Vision or SWE Scan. This opens up SWE Vision, the top explorer for SWE blockchain. You can see success of the transaction. Click OK. So then if we go back to my portfolio, you can see my balance is now increased. I click on yield token. I now have $375.27 worth currently. And also if I go to leaderboard, I've increased my points per day to 0.34 I'll be earning. I currently have 25 points. And again, it's still very early on Nemo. So I think this presents a really good opportunity to test out a new protocol with just a small amount of capital, climb the leaderboard, position yourself for an airdrop, look into doing vaults and potentially qualifying for 2 airdrops with Momentum and Nemo. My takeaway is that it's a lot to get your head around initially. I'm still learning how this works in terms of yield trading markets, but I do see huge potential in this concept. I know that they're working on making the UI more user-friendly, easier to understand. I recommend diving into their Discord. It's very active and they have a ton of information as well as active Discord mods that will help point you in the right direction. So hopefully this was helpful. If it was, please leave a like and consider subscribing for more crypto content. I'll see you in the next one.